replay viewers and everyone coming in live. I think I may have actually made up a word. I typed in misbeliefs and spell check underlined it. So, hey, new word here. Welcome. Hey, Helen. Thanks for sharing and inviting followers. So if you are new, I am Melissa from MakerySpace.com, where I love to educate and equip Etsy sellers in the more left-brained aspects of running their business. And I am on pretty much every weekday. Oh, yeah, I missed yesterday. So there will be times that something else comes up and I'm not on, but most weekdays at around 10:30 Pacific time. I am on here with just some little bit of a way to educate you about how to better run your shop. Today I'm going to be talking about some misbeliefs that Etsy sellers tend to have about shipping via the USPS. I see a lot of these circulated routinely, and so I thought this would be good to talk about because you may believe some of them yourself. So, and at the end, if you want to chime in with any that you have heard or you want clarification on that maybe I didn't mention, you can feel free to do that as well. So the first misbelief is that you have to go to the post office to ship all of your packages. You do not have to go to the post office. You can actually leave your packages for your carrier in your mailbox if they're small enough. I actually send most of my packages just in regular bubble mailers that are about 9x7, and my packages are pretty thin, so I'm able to fit a pretty good amount. My mailbox is pretty large, so I can fit a pretty good amount of stuff in there, and then I just, as a courtesy to my carrier, I print off that scan form that you can do when you're finished printing shipping labels. Hey, Jessica. And I put it in there because that way your carrier only has to scan the scan form one time, and it gets all of those packages that were printed at the same time and all those labels that were printed at the same time instead of having to scan each individual label. So it saves the carrier some time. I actually also heard, and I have not confirmed this specifically with a carrier. I wanted to ask my carrier, but I have heard that if you do it that way and you leave a scan form, that actually helps the carrier because there's this kind of built-in accountability with their route if they're having to scan intake of packages along their route. So I want to ask my carrier about that because I thought that was kind of interesting to know with that whole GPS thing and tracking what a carrier is doing. So you can leave it in your mailbox. I do recommend doing the scan form. You can also request a pickup, which ties into another myth, which is that you have to have at least one priority mail or higher class package in order to have a pickup. Yeah, my carrier scans right away too. You do not have to have priority mail or higher class package for a pickup. That used to be the case, but now if you go to the USPS site and request a pickup, there's one little spot on there where they didn't add in first class in their little note. But if you if you scroll down, you'll see where you can designate how many of each type of package you will have for the carrier to pick up. And first class is on there, and there is no restriction as far as, like, if you were to put in 20 first class packages, it's not going to be like keeping you from going on to the next page saying, oh, no, you need at least a priority mail. You can have completely only first class packages, and your carrier will pick it up. That's just something you need to schedule the day before. I don't know if it depends on area. I think in my area it's like by 2 a.m. or something. I have to have scheduled that pickup. And then you could designate where you're going to leave it. No, if you're just putting them in your mailbox, just put the flag up. You do not need to schedule a pickup. But if you are going to put them, I would recommend getting some of the USPS bins that they have that are the official ones that they use. They will give you some of those to take home, and then you can just get more replenished. Maybe someone can chime in if they're on here that uses those bins regularly. Maybe your carrier leaves some for you as well. That's maybe something that they do, which would be really helpful. But if you leave it in one of those bins, or even if you have it in a bag or something, you just designate where it will be, whether it's on your front porch, inside the door, whatever it is, wherever you're going to leave it, you just designate that for the carrier so that he or she knows where to find it. Okay, and I would also leave a scan form with that because once again, it will save your carrier some time. So you can leave them in your mailbox, you can leave them in a different location when you schedule a pickup, And you can also put them in the blue boxes that the post office has. I rarely go into the post office. I either leave it for my carrier or I put my packages in a blue box, which leads to two more myths. One being that if your package weighs over 13 ounces, that you can't put it in a blue box. That is not true unless you're using stamps. And I doubt that most of us use stamps on our packages from our shop. So if you are using stamps, then it weighs over 13 ounces, you do have to take it to the counter. You cannot put it in one of those blue boxes. But if you have a shipping label on it that you've generated online, it does not matter how much it weighs as long as it fits in there. Even like when someone orders priority mail and I use the small priority mail box, I still put that in there too. It's not just for first class. So you can use the blue boxes. And then the other myth related to the blue boxes is I see people saying, oh, but you can't put international packages in there. Not the case. You can put international packages in there too. You send larger boxes and put them in a large basket. If you use a USPS bin, it is at risk. What do you mean at risk? Is it too big for the bins? I'm not sure what you mean there. So international packages can also go in the blue box as long as you've printed that label online and you've put it on there and it's been generated that way. It's totally fine. It's all ready to go. And that leads to another myth, which is that if you are sending it internationally, that you have to go into the post office and get the customs forms and then fill out the multiple copies, one of which goes on the package, one goes to the post office, one comes home with you. Not if you're using Etsy shipping labels or another kind of shipping service, because in those cases, the customs information is filed electronically. There is no paperwork that needs to be filled out in order for the customs to be done correctly. You're at risk of it getting stolen because you live on a busy street. Okay, I see why you don't want to leave it out as a pickup. You can also, I believe, ask the carrier to knock on your door or ring the doorbell. I think someone confirm or deny that for me. Okay, so yes, international packages you can put in your mailbox as well for your carrier to pick up. If you print a scan form, it breaks down for the carrier how many domestic packages first class there are, how many priority mail, how many international first class packages, how many international priority mail, etc. So that scan form that you print from Etsy when you print your shipping labels breaks everything down that's included in that batch of packages that you are either leaving for your carrier in a bin or are leaving in your mailbox. So they know what's in there. So as far as the customs forms, there are for priority mail, if it's not like the flat rate envelopes or the flat rate small box. Oh, that's a bummer. My carrier is so good. I just feel so blessed that I have not had issues with my carrier. She's wonderful. But I know that there are issues out there, and that may affect some decisions you make about the things I'm talking about today. Someone might actually want to go into the post office if they have issues with their carrier. So you'll have to play that one by ear. But with the customs forms, if some of those, like the priority mail that's not flat rate envelope or flat rate small box, sometimes you do have to do multiple copies for international. Now there are some countries that don't require it. I believe Australia, Canada, and one other. You can find that information online. But you'll see people go, oh, make sure you have all 3 copies of your customs form. And then people get all confused going, oh, one only printed through Etsy. Etsy will print what you need. Okay, so if only one form prints, one label, that is all you need to put on the package. Now, someone brought up the signature issue. Yes, it has to have your signature and date on it. But there is in your shipping, on your shipping labels page, if you go to the options tab, there is a spot where you can check mark for it to electronically sign and date it for you. So that way when your label is printed, your name and the date are already on there. So you will not forget to sign it if you have it set up that way ahead of time. Now you could leave it to where you have to sign it. I'm not really sure why you'd want to, especially since you could forget. But I have that check marked, so mine does it. Yeah, there's a line for signing and dating any international label for the customs information. My carrier, we have one carrier who has been pretty consistent for the last few years, but she will have subs sometime. I think on the weekend, someone else does it, and then occasionally other times she'll have a sub. But we have had the same consistent carrier, but I'm sure that all routes are a little bit different as far as that goes. Okay, so those are the main myths or misconceptions or misbeliefs that I wanted to cover as far as shipping goes on the USPS side. Now, I don't use FedEx or UPS for shipping, so I can't really cover those myths, but I wanted to be sure and cover those ones that I see commonly being spread around in groups on Facebook and other places. So did anyone have any other questions for clarification or something else that you've seen talked about with USPS and you're wondering if that's true or not? Yay, that's exciting, Wendy. When you open it up to international sales, it really is a great benefit. If you can reasonably do that, I know some people have really awkward or really heavy items and it just makes it a lot more difficult. But the fact is, if someone in another country wants your item, even if it costs a lot to ship because it's heavy, they'll buy it. I mean, they're going to see at the time they go to add it to their cart how much the shipping is. And let them make that decision whether or not you want, or whether or not they want to buy it. Because I see people saying, oh, I don't want to do international sales because shipping is too expensive. Well, you're not paying the shipping. You should be charging the customer. And if they want it, they will pay the shipping. It is pretty amazing to think that we can get something all the way around the world for the price that we can do it for. You use DHL for last minute? Okay. Have you found that works better as far as getting it there faster than doing like Priority Mail Express or something like that, Sarah? You might also check into, if you have those heavier items, you might check into some other options. I did, in my last newsletter on Sunday, I linked to FedEx, what's the page that is like in cooperation with Etsy. They give reduced rates for Etsy sellers. So you may find that the FedEx rates for sending your items, if they're heavy, might be better than doing it USPS and using Etsy shipping labels. So you might want to shop around and see. And the international rates, they did go up quite a bit. My packages were being able to be sent for like $6 something, no matter where I sent them in the world, for the first 2 ounces. And the majority of my packages, if someone buys just one thing, are about 2 ounces. And that went up to $9 something for Canada. And then all the other zones went up even higher. So it was a really, really big jump. $60 for up to 2 tutus. That is light, but yeah, it's expensive. But if people need it right away or just want it on the other side of the world, they're going to pay it. So leave that up to them. If you're willing to try international shipping, just go ahead and do it and let them decide if they want to pay it. Any other questions? All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope that helped you with those shipping myths. And remember that if you want to request a certain topic or question for me to answer on Periscope, you can either email me at melissa@makeryspace.com, or you can go to makeryspace.com/scope. And if you scroll down the page, you will find a form that you can fill out and put that question or topic in there. And that's also where you'll find show notes if I talk about anything in a scope and I have links that I need to share with you. Do I have a set shipping? I use calculated shipping, and I have a 2-part tutorial, video screencast tutorial on my blog that talks about how to set up calculated shipping and some of the pitfalls people fall into that make them think, oh, it's not working or it's charging too much. It's always due to mistakes on our end. So I cover some of those things that are common mistakes when calculated shipping is being set up. But I have used it pretty much ever since it came out, and I absolutely love it. I am never undercharging or overcharging my customers for their packages. Alrighty, it was good to spend time with you today, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning.